social and political commentary from a Christian male perspective.
Yeah. I believe in family structure. I believe in a husband being in the home with their children, with his children, not having children outside of wedlock. Now, of course, I'm not talking about any of the incidental situations that happen in life. I'm talking about the optimal situation for family. So there is a young man that was talking about this, and I wanted to give him an opportunity to kind of tease it out a little bit and I want to hear what y'all think about it. So we'll be definitely looking for your comments in the chat on this one for sure. So let's bring this in and let's see what we got. Let's go.
71% of our sisters are not married. 29% will never get married. 63% of our brothers are not married. 30% of them will never get married. There is no culture in the history of humankind that has risen to maximize their full human potential without family at the center of their culture. This only exists. This is an interesting but negative statistic. This phenomenon of the existential crisis of our family only exists among African American black people. It does not exist on the continent or anywhere else in the diaspora. So there must be something in the water. We must fix this. It is a lot easier said than done because it is impacting our wealth. Quick statistics. For 350 years, household median income was dominated by white people. They were number one in this country. They no longer are number one, they're number three, and there's a reason for it. So, who has the highest household median wealth in America? It's East Indians. $104,000 a year. What's the marriage rate in the East Indian culture? 94%. Two are working. Who's number two? Chinese Asians. Household median income $110,000 a year, marriage rate close to 70%. Number three are white people. Household median income $88,000 a year. What's the marriage rate? Almost 50%. Down significantly. Number four are Hispanics. Household median income $61,000 a year, marriage rate close to 70%. We are at the bottom. Household median income $55,000 a year, marriage rate 34%, and projected based on facts and statistics that if we do not fix this, because white folks ain't fixing this, our marriage rate will be in the low teens in the next 20 years. This is an enormous challenge. That's a whole talk by itself on how do we fix it. It can be fixed, but we have to, first of all, understand that this is a problem. No one's talking about this problem. This is a huge problem. It's the number one problem in our culture. So we must fix it.
Wow. All right. I appreciate him, and I think he was passionate about it. Now, I'm going to say that the marriage issue in the United States is not primarily economic. It's not an economic problem. It's not. It is primarily a moral, dare I say, a religious problem, because the institution of marriage was not made by man. I know, shocking, right? No guys were sitting around the campfire saying, hey guys, let's, these women, let's go ahead and choose to be with one of them for the rest of our lives till death do us part. No guys came up with that. Marriage is God's design. One man, one woman, that's God's plan. And it's for the furtherance of the society, of course, and there's a ton of benefits that come along with it. But the most important benefit of, or reality of marriage, is that it represents Christ's relationship with the church. So my relationship with my wife demonstrates and models to my children, to my neighbors, to my church community, the example, the living example of one man committing to one woman for till death do them part. And in Christ's example, Christ committing to us, period. There's no death that part us. So the issues that we see in the highly melanated community are primarily because we've lost our foundation as it relates to the family, mothers and fathers. So, and I know there'll be some disagreement. Some people say separation of church and state. They'll add, there are people who are non-Christians that are married. There'll be a lot of those arguments out there, and I'm perfectly fine with those. It doesn't matter. The truth of the reality is that marriage is God's idea. So if we do something off-brand, if we do something Temu version of marriage, if we got a wish.com type of marriage going on or matrimony going on, that doesn't mean that the original is bad. That just means that we've come up with a false and a counterfeit. And so we see these false and counterfeits all the time. And if you have to look at it, just look at our society. Just look at our society, for example. How has our society been made better by relaxing, or dare I say, shunning marriage? How has it been made better? And I'm not just talking about the highly melanated. I'm talking about society as a whole. How has the fabric of America been strengthened by by hookup culture, by OF running free? Like, I'll wait. Tell me how that's made us better. It hasn't, because you know why? Because it never was intended to make us better. It was actually intended to make us worse. So going back to that point, I love what the young man had to say, and I agree with him that those are some benefits of marriage, economic stability and such of that nature. But when the smoke really clears at the brass tacks level, it is the foundation. The very first institution that God made was marriage, the very first. Before church, before government, before anything else, the very first institution was marriage. It was God's idea. Trust me, we men are not that smart. we might want to pretend like we're smart, but we're really not that smart. We did not come up with this idea. We didn't come up with it. It was God's idea. And so by us changing and saying that it need not be exactly as God intended, therein is the problem, because the perfect was already there. Now anything else cannot be perfect. But I love to hear what you're saying. What y'all think about it? Bitter Lily says, God, husband, wife, children. I mean, what a beautiful formula for the furtherance of a society and the flourishing of a society. Looking at just scanning through. I love it. Separation of church and state was only a letter from Thomas Jefferson to the Brown Church. And I agree. I'm not going to even actually, I truly disagree with people's argumentation of separation of church and state. A lot of the time it's because I just want to, you hear people yell separation of church and state because they don't want to be convicted or held accountable for the things that they're doing. That's ultimately it, because they have no problem with separating church and state if the state violates my rights. If the state came in and said something about how I practice my Christian faith, they would have zero issue with that. But if I want to impose, or I believe that morality should be in the fabric of society, then we start yelling church and state. Separation church and state. Go to sleep. There is no separation of church and state. There isn't. Even in the statement, separation of church and state, there is an idea. There is a religious idea that you believe that is going to be brought into the state. It's a wrap. So, we can have a 3-day discussion about it if you want to. But again, that whole separation church and state thing it's in a letter. People tout it like it's in the Constitution itself. Like, where are you getting that from? And again, I'm not out here trying to say that you have to, but I mean, there are people who believe that. I might disagree with them a little bit on that regard, but that's not my argumentation. My argumentation is, however, how has society been better by the separation of church and state being used as dogma, as a bat, as a bludgeon? How has it been made better? I'll wait. Feel free to let me know what has been made better by it. I don't think we can. Lots of good conversation in here. What is it again? No, I love it. Thank y'all so much. Now, if you're just jumping in, we're just doing a little subathon. We're just having a good old time talking. I got lots of TikToks, and I'm going to go over. I got a couple of guests that are going to be popping in tonight as well. We're going to be going over a couple of, make sure nobody texts me. We're going to be going over a couple of body cam videos and just having a good time, chopping it up. I just want to give you all an opportunity to interact, hear a little bit more about what this channel is about, of course. And if you haven't already hit that like button, if you haven't already hit the subscribe button, hit that subscribe button. I hope you did hit the like button and jump into the best live chat on the internet. Shout out to you, Marshall. Thank you so much, brother. Appreciate you. All right, let us go now. Now, brother Anthony Mackey, whether you liked him as Captain America or not, he clearly has gotten a lot of people's dander up by his commentary about how he raises his sons. And I'm going to dovetail this in with the previous conversation about marriage and how societies flourish. So again, I want to just pull this in and hear your thoughts on it. So please do not hesitate to jump into the best live chat on the internet. I would love to hear what you have to say about it. So let's bring this in. Brother Mackey, what do you have to say?
Keep my boys humble. Like, my boys have never had a pair of Jordans. You know, my boys don't do all that internet fly shit. I'm like your kid.
Sorry about that.
And no, I don't give a. I could be the biggest star in the world. Do not let me catch you being stupid. Mm-hmm. Do not. And my oldest gets it. My 15-year-old, he tell the other ones, he's like, yo, don't make dad mad. Because once you get one that's right, he gonna straighten the other ones out. Mm-hmm. So it's just that thing of, in the past 20 years, we've been living through the death of the American male. They have literally killed masculinity in our homes and our communities, for one reason or another. But I raised my boys to be young men. And however you feel about that, you feel about that. Right. But my boys will always be respectful. They will always say, yes, sir, yes, ma'am. No, sir, no, ma'am. They will always say thank you. They will always open a door for a lady. They will always make sure that their mother is taken care and provided for. They will always be men. And that's always since they were 2 years old. Every time I left for a job, I tell my 15-year-old, you're the man of the house. You make sure these doors are locked every night, this alarm is on, you text me or you call me every night before you go to bed and you wake up.
I love that.
Because we're men. If I'm not there to protect, he got to be there to protect. Because you can have all the money in the world, climb through the window, that money means nothing.
Right.
You can have all the celebrity in the world, you jump through the door, that celebrity means nothing.
Yeah.
So you got to have a little guard in there. You know, and so for me, it's always that idea of American masculinity is very different.
All right. I gotta agree with Anthony Mackey. We might not agree on everything, but it doesn't matter. I agree with him wholeheartedly right there. And oh man, talk about timing. Yo, timing is of the essence. Shout out. All right. Shout out to Cade Dub from All Things Theology, my brother from another. He has just jumped into the chat. He was right in my mind. I was literally saying how great it would be to talk about the video that we're going to talk about right on the tail of this comment. So shout out to K-Dub. K-Dub, I just dropped the link in the chat. Feel free, my brother, to hop on in. Looking forward to it. And I'll give you a chance to introduce yourself as well. I agree with Mr. Mackey wholeheartedly right there. And as a dad of girls that I hope one day very soon will go on to go on to college and one day hopefully be wives and mothers to my grandchildren out of my house, I'm 100% with what Mr. Mackey said, and all the shade that he's getting from the society, all the up and down he's getting from people. I care nothing about it, because at the end of the day, when the smoke clears, I want the best for my daughters. I want the very best for my daughters. I believe that is the right way. I believe that God's plan is the absolute best for my girls. So I don't care what y'all say. I want God's design for my babies. So ultimately, I agree with Mr. Mackey 100%. Memberships, thank you for that as well. I'm looking forward to rocking with you all tomorrow. So we'll do it again real soon. And until then, everybody, grace and peace. Take care. Have a great night.